As someone who has studied Philippine history, I'm curious if you had any specific thoughts on what makes a great story.
The whole point of a story is the transformation. A person seeing the world as one way, and then by the end of the story, they look at it in a different way. I just recently worked on this animated series called The Filipino Story. The whole objective of this animated series is for Filipinos outside the Philippines to remember the beauty and genius of their culture again. And so I took this concept that a lot of Philams are familiar with, this idea of fob, right? When we were growing up in school, we heard this as a derogatory term, or it is a derogatory term when you call someone a fob fresh off the boat for some reason that makes them lesser than other people. And so what I did is I took this idea of a boat and I tried to show the viewer that, hey, you know what, actually, if you look at this idea of a boat, this is actually where our culture started. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors, their whole lives revolved around being on boats. That's how they discovered the Philippines. That's how they were able to settle in all our islands. That's how they were able to provide for their families. And in a boat, connecting with each other and being there for each other first originated and first began the genesis of kapwa and bayanihan, these core values that make us who we are today, that make us Filipinos. So actually being a fob should be a source of pride, you know? So that's the transformation that I try to have in the stories that I tell. We take this concept that may be familiar from my audience, that they may look at in a certain way, and flip it into looking at it in a different way, looking at it in a positive way.